Warning: you have just wandered into the unpopular playground arena, a unique space specifically designed for young adults and those soon becoming where curiosity meets unconventional learning and dialogue with brutal honesty. If you're a bold and daring rebel who wants more options on your life journey than you have now, keep listening. Welcome, Jen Lin.
And welcome back to the Unpopular Playground. This is Jen Lin, and welcome to Season 3, where we are going to be discussing in this episode what's to come, and also what our demographic, some different possible avatars about what our demographic will look like, to see if you can identify with these situations and these people that I'm imagining. And the reason why I went into such detail is because I have been all of these people in one way or another at different stages of my life, myself and my friends. And so these are the specifics that I'm referring to. And also I'm going to go over again in a little bit more detail on who this is not for. If the warning, I thought it was apropos to have in our introduction the little warning because, when you speak the truth about certain things, about the way that things are as is, not a lot of people like to look at that. Not a lot of people like to look at themselves in the mirror and see themselves the way that other people see them. A lot of the times we are biased at what we see, and of course we want to see the best in everything, and we're really good at doing that for ourselves and not excusing other people as much as we do ourselves for our faults and what we try to accomplish. If we were to look at other people and try to understand their situation a little bit more, maybe investigate a little bit more as to the why, maybe some other things, not that you excuse their behavior, but that you could understand them a little bit more and see what we can do to try to help instead of always throwing in that bias, because we're really good at doing it for ourselves, but not so much for others. But if we can see ourselves the way that other people see us. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that story, The Emperor's New Clothes, when the king thought he was a great somebody and he was fooled into believing that he had a magical outfit with this thread, and he didn't want to believe. He kind of thought it was a scam, but they had him believe that only rich and regal people can see it, and because the king believed it, gaslighted them into believing that he had this outfit on and it was really invisible. It was nothing, and he was stamped out of it, but the people didn't want to hurt the king's feeling, and he's parading off, practically half naked in this parade until some kid saw him the way as is, and, called out, "He's naked." And then all of a sudden, he felt stupid. All of the other people felt stupid that, wow, this is really me. This is who I am. This is, at some point, we need to take responsibility for ourselves and see ourselves as we are and as other people see themselves. As other people see you as is. And we a lot of times don't want to look and see that deep. And if you're not ready for that, this is probably not going to be your podcast. But the only way that you can overcome yourself and to be able to overcome your obstacles and your problems, you need to face things as is. And so some of the things will be the warning, specifics on that if you're not ready to deal with yourself and some realities of the way that things are in the world, it's not the pretty picture that everybody paints. And we know that because we have the mass media to tell us that the world is going to hell in a handbasket. We had a lot of that over the pandemic in 2020 that basically everything is hopeless and why bother? Well, we know that it's not to that extreme either, but we do need to look deep inside and take some accountability for our decisions that we've made, that we're responsible for. And we can't change anybody else, but we can change our behavior. And based off of that, we can start climbing out of our situation, the situation you don't want to be in, to be able to get to where you want, but you can't do that until you're ready to face facts. And it's brutal. It's not pretty. And just look at the conversations on social media. You can't even have a conversation with a lot of people because they get triggered when you point out things as is. They can't have an adult conversation and look at different points of view. You can't make a judgment on anything until you look at all sides of the coin. And sadly, not everybody presents that. And it's up to you to be able to investigate, and find all sides of the story so that you can make a decision then. And that's what real journalists do. That's how real decision makers, people who make good decisions, they can do that so that you can have all of the cards, all of the facts laid out before you so that you can look at them and then see, is this good for me? It might not be good, but it might be good for somebody else because it's depending on their perspective and where they're at in life. It can be a very good decision for somebody else. But you got the scammers, and what they do is they only present certain sides of the story. When you look on social media and you see all of these great profiles and pictures and ways of life, well, it's not always as you would imagine. Look at all of the suicides and everything caused from either comparing themselves or maybe even the creators themselves presenting such a facade that they can't live up to what they're presenting themselves to be. And the sooner that you can get to the truth of who you are, what you have to offer, the sooner you can get out of your bad situation if you're in that. And if you're in a good situation or mediocre, you can always become better or do what you can to be able to stay in that. Life is a cycle. You're not going to be in that good position forever, and you'll want to know how to brace up. So if you get in when those times come, you're prepared and you can buffer it and deal with it a little bit easier than you could if you're not prepared. And we've all seen that. You got people having breakdowns. I don't know. Everybody's different, but I just could never see myself holding a camera to my face and just crying in front of the screen just to get reactions from somebody. I think there's a better way to go about it. And are they presenting solutions to their problems? Are they coming up and brainstorming ideas? That's what you want to be. You get a lot farther faster being a problem solver than a complainer. Shit happens, but there's ways to be able to pull out of that. And so that is what we're going to be going over in this episode. The many different faces of our league, little warning, relations and real people, and our intention to build an organic library of meaningful content with different categories that we can show you some options for solutions and to give you opportunity to practice them, to build a community. And based off of your contact with us, your engagement and interaction, we can make the library that we're going to build up a lot more meaningful than, the research. A lot of it, I'm basing it off of my experience and what I wish I would have had, because it's still not out there. It's still not been created. And that is probably one of the main things that's driving me to do this podcast and to share these things with you. So coming to our warning, when you hear that warning in the beginning of every episode, this is it. It's if any of these points trigger you, it's probably not a good time to listen to this podcast, because I'm not going to change. It's a free country, and I'm going to say what I need to say. And if it bothers you and you're offended by this, it's probably because you might be part of the problem. Even if you're not doing any of these things actively, if you're going to get so mad and upset that you're going to pull somebody else down and trash them and just want to be contrary, just to be contrary because you're so unhappy, this isn't the place for you until you are ready to tone down your attitude and want to do something about it. Then you'll be welcome. Anybody that wants to come in and troll is not welcome, and you will be immediately dismissed, because you don't have to be here. You don't have to be in this community to tear other people down. It's not a thing of, and that's the thing, isn't it? You have a free community to, they say it's a free country. You can say what you need to say, but also it's a free country in that if somebody else is just like fruit, if you have poisoned fruit or something that's molding and it gets next to healthy things, it's going to make its mold and disgust, and it's all of that's going to spread like a fire. It can be, if you light a flame and catch something on fire, it's going to spread very quickly, and it can be for good or for bad. And if your intention is to start a fire of destruction, to spread your toxicity, if you're so unhappy, that, I'm going to do all I can to protect this community from trolling, from toxicity, and just people all the downers who want to just crap on everything. If you're that unhappy, this is not the place for you. If you're easily offended, if you can't handle brutal facts, if you feel easily overwhelmed or demoralized, if you don't want to explore solutions, if all you want to do is complain, I talked about in the last episode, if you have a problem or concern, try and have a solution with it, an idea for a solution, have something else in your hand to try to overcome it. It might not work for you, but you know what? It might work for somebody else, and we can put that in the pool for somebody else to grab, because it might work for somebody else. If you want to stay the same or the status quo, you want to be safe, this is not the arena, because we're some risky people and we are radical and want to try to find solutions and motivated. If you're closed-minded and you can't open up your mind to at least listen to other people for solutions, if you think that your way is the only way, this is not the place for you. And if you can't have conversations about things that you disagree with, this is not your community. We want to have active, live discussions that excite and motivate other people, not to drag people down and criticize. And it's not that we don't want constructive criticism. Criticism can be very helpful because it's to try to help somebody to get better. If something is wrong, I will correct you on it, and I will say, yeah, that's wrong, because there is objective right and wrong. But you know what? I'm going to give you some ideas on how to overcome it. And I'm going to help you research ideas on how to overcome whatever it is that you're going through. And that's just the way that it is. So I hope I've made that clear. And I'm okay with that. If you're struggling with these things, I think it's best for you to maybe go get some professional help if that's what's needed, or to work on yourself and to a point to where you're able to open up a little bit more, to where you can handle some responsibility and take accountability for how you got to where you've gotten, and then move on from there. And that brings me to another situation, the faces of our league. So we're in a little league I mentioned, and these are some situations that might help you. So if you are feeling clueless, maybe just starting high school, don't know where to begin, this podcast could be for you. So this podcast could be for you if you're in any one of these situations and you identify with these situations, then you'll definitely want to keep listening. If you have graduation pressures and you don't know where to begin, maybe you're just coming in, whatever stage you're coming into the party, into the community, these are some things, real concerns that you might have. Maybe you're a postgraduate. Now you're thinking, now what? I have to go find a home. Maybe you might be forced to move out, forced job, feeling behind. Now what? What do you do? And this can be this way for high school and college. Maybe you're just finished high school, graduating high school.
If you're enjoying the Unpopular Playground, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. We'd love to hear your thoughts, so leave a comment right now to join the conversation. If you know another curious friend who would resonate with our discussions, share the podcast and spread the word. Together, let's create a community where every young voice is heard.
Do you go to college? Do you not? Are there other options? And here's the tough one. Is your life being planned by others? Maybe you have family members that are pressuring you to go into a certain line of work and you're not interested in that. There are advantages of doing that. I think they just want the best for you. They want you to be successful. But at the same time, if you're unhappy, but maybe, you might have to go somewhere halfway down the road and do that. And meanwhile, work on what you want to be doing. And eventually you would be able to switch over. So, the nuances of all of these things are very, very touchy and very tricky. So it's hard, and you want to have all the information and options at your hand before you make these life-changing decisions. You might be a kid, babies having babies. You might be a very young mother or father and feel like, is my life over? Single parent, surprise. Are you, have you been labeled an at-home loafer and you're scared? Maybe just to go, maybe you don't know how. You want to be independent. But with as high as rent is on many things, it's very, very hard to go out on what employers are paying versus the expenses of just living is, and then you have all I call them creditor predators and scams, seeking to take what little that you have off of you and just basically having you to be a financial slave. Nobody wants to be reduced to that. And then you come to 30 and you wonder, how did I get here? And I have nothing to show for it. Well, try being older, feeling that way, because I certainly never had anything like this. They didn't have podcasts and anything to get where I did get. I had to research and do it myself. And how cool is it to be able to have podcasts and other resources at hand that you can look up? You have Google, you have libraries of content and information that you can go search to get the information that you want. Videos, we didn't even have that. I had Encyclopedia Britannica, okay? And then I had my grandma for Google, because I think she knew just about everything. So these are examples of people and situations on why I'm so driven to do what I'm doing and to help build solutions and options for you. And relations and real people. A lot of you may feel clumsy that you're coming late to the party. Maybe, that's how I feel. Anyway, I feel like I'm clumsy and coming late to the party. I wanted to start this in September, but I feel mandated internally to continue on for you. So yes, I'm starting a little bit later, but I am invested in this 1,000,000%. And I want to create what I didn't have. I'm imagining the little Jen in her high school years, the Jen and me that was just sprouting out from high school life. And in my early 20s as a young mother, and just trying to figure it out. What do I even want to be doing? Because once you graduate high school, you're forced to work. And if you're not doing what you want to do, then you're having to work and then figure it out along the way. And on top of that, I was raising a child and then dealing with all of those things of just living. And then you got, so this is, I'm a real person for real people, wants to give you options, ideas, and a trial space to be able to practice. I'm intending to, the things that I see that I think might be helpful, I want to curate that information of things that I don't know or things that have been helpful to me. If it's helpful to me, I know that it can be helpful to somebody else, the information that I use and apply, and the knowledge stacking that I do, because I'm an avid reader. I'm addicted to information that's going to help me with my life, to make it easier so that I have more time to do the things that I want to do. There's no algorithms, no bots. There's no diversity requirements where I need to have so many of a certain group of people. No, this is for people. It's intended for high school people, which is an age range of about 14 to 29, who want to learn and have a space to be a part of a real community that you can learn and practice to learn those lessons. Some people call it failing. I call it learning lessons. Learning trial by error, figuring out the things that you don't want. You have certain situations and people that you come across and you're thinking, I'm never going to let that happen again. Or, ooh, I tried that and I don't like it. And maybe you had an easy way in, but you know what? The thing that you hate, somebody else is probably going to love. And if you're involved in that industry that you hate, you can help somebody else get into that. You can introduce them to people who can get them into that industry and vice versa. Can you imagine I don't know. I think when you study the brain, you think of all those networks and synapses and those, aha, I get it moments. They have something called you think of that brainstorming. So you're making connections and getting those aha moments. Brainstorm. I forget what those meetings are called. I can't even think of the term now, but mind meetings. Oh my gosh, I can't think of the term. You know what I'm talking about? Put it in the comments. But masterminds, that's it. Okay. Yeah, the masterminds were people who want to raise their game. They get together and they brainstorm, and that's what I want this community to be. One giant mastermind of young people who want to really rock their world. And you know what? When you're happy and you're rocking your life, you are an inspiration for other people. You attract goodness. People want to be around you because you're confident. You're able to think for yourself and do what you need to do. And people want that. That is contagious. And instead of spreading negativity around, let's see if we can spread some inspiration and responsibility. I think we should make accountability and responsibility that desire for intrinsic motivation, because it makes you feel good and it's addicting. Instead of having our being depend on people outside of us to tell us that, oh yeah, you're cool, you're a good person, that's toxic, and that's what social media has become. But if you want something different, you'll definitely want to be a part of this. And that brings us to the organic library of content. We want to build content courses in the future on things that are meaningful to you, so that, like I said, you can rock your life. To be on, health, communications, logical thinking, analyzing, decision making, but also being able to bring out your creativity, what you need for domestic life, just to be able to function, to be able to run a household. Even if you don't have a family, you might not have a family now, you might be single, but you still have to be able to know how to do laundry, know how to cook food safely, to be able to have a clean environment so that you're not living in a pigsty. You can find your things and paying your bills on time, all of that kind of stuff. Not overextending your time and resources, and your cash not being taken by scammers, being able to get along with people, increasing your self-knowledge, making sure to take time for self-care and your overall. And all of this will come through in your presentation. When people see you, they're going to look at you. Are you hygienically presentable? And do you care about yourself? And when you look disheveled, it's weird. It seems like the homeless look is really in, and those are the people that don't get opportunities. People who look good, and you might not have won the genetic lottery, but if you're clean and your clothes are clean and you can think for yourself and you can give value, that's going to come across and a lot more than somebody. You get a Chad that's got the homeless look and looks like he doesn't care. The people that look like they care, perception is everything. If you look like you care about what you do and where you're going, and you have some integrity, internal integrity, that's going to shine through. It's going to glow. It's going to be blinding. And with that, opportunities will come to you. And you want to have those skills and knowledge in hand so that when they are presented, you'll be in a position to take them. And I just reached my 30 minutes, and actually that is the end. So I've reached my goal again. So, yep, we talked about those few things. This is the final segment. These are some things to come. I mentioned in the last podcast that my first goal is to build a community of 5,000 people. And I will do a separate episode on this, on the significance of that. But right now it's going to be, I'm currently working on building a community through, with a combination through Buy Me a Coffee. And with that will be an invitation to our Discord community group. And the whole idea right now is to build the podcast community. And so there'll be tons and tons of value and engagement, initial engagement. And when we reach that magic number, then I'm going to take anybody else that comes after that 5,000 will be transferred over to another platform that will be, I would imagine by that time, it will be at a point to where I can actually start building courses and things like that. But in this Discord community, the first 5,000 people who join, it's going to be as such a very intimate community where hopefully I can get to know each and every one. And I'm going to have a little book of all the people who join that community so that I can really get to know, our team can really get to know who you are. It seems like a lot, but it's actually a pretty small number. But like I mentioned, that twig, individually, or that twig that can snap and break. But when we're a community, we can be strong and powerful and create a movement and spread it and to be able to build it on. And that's what we're going to build our content library for. But all of the people that are going to be in the Discord community it'll be like a learning lab. Just imagine like a Costco where you have those free samples. That's what it's going to be about, where I can test courses, and we can do little groups and things like that. And then the things we can tweak them. And once they're perfected, then I can put it out to the rest of the world who might not know. And we can market those and make them available to everybody. But Could you imagine being part of the creation and all of the things that we produce? You can say, yeah, that was my idea. I came up with that question. Yeah. And so you might think it's small, but you're going to make, just even by helping voice your concerns on the things that matter to you, that's going to help me and my team to create content that matters to the world. And you can say, yeah, I was a part of that. And until you figure out what you want to do and how you want to impact the world, you can do it just by being a part of the community. And that first big group, the first big haul, it's gonna be epic, and I'm very excited. And the biggest thing that will be coming up will be our summer field trip festival that we're going to do in 2026. That will be at a location. Think of it like the Olympics, but every year, and it will be a hands-on workshops and conversations and topics where we can all get together and meet one another and have fun and learn things and network and build together. How fun is that? And also be in a location where you can have fun at the same time and we can have fun together. Because one of the things that I loved about teaching was going on field trips, going to different places, and not just in the classroom learning all the time, but also having fun and pulling the lessons from play, because that's where you get a lot of your greatest ideas to be able to apply it to what you're doing. And I'll just conclude on that note. So thank you for listening. And I think I'm going to describe a little bit more in the next episode about the 5,000, the significance of that and what that's going to look like. I'm almost done building that community up, and the Discord, I do have those set up. I'm still working on that, but my goal is to have that done by the end of the month, that people can join in. You can support us individually or become a part of that community, which is probably the most affordable community that you could possibly imagine for all of the value that you're going to get. And it's just a one-time fee, or you can do it incrementally, but it's designed to be, I like that idea of buy me a coffee, that it's not going to be worth more than 2 coffees. So if you can afford 2 coffees a month, that's what it's going to be. And then if you pay a one-time, it's going to be even cheaper than that. So we're excited about that, because you do have to invest a little bit. Otherwise, you're not going to take it seriously. People, it's a scientific fact that anything that's for free, you don't take it, you don't value it. But when you invest, and it's more of an investment of time in your thoughts and the time that you put in outside to be able to apply the things that we're talking about. It's ultimately an investment in yourself, but it's real investment. It's more of a personal investment in yourself than anything else. So if you're prepared to do this and to move through, to take accountability, responsibility, and invest in yourself personally with your time and your thoughts and your reflections, so that you can take the skills and the knowledge to figure out what you want and what you don't want, you will rock your life by the time you're 30, and you can help other people along the way, your cohorts. So thank you for listening, and stay curious, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Jen Lin has now left the arena. You've been listening to The Unpopular Playground. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed today's episode, please make sure to subscribe for more thought-provoking conversations. We'd love your feedback, so drop a comment and let us know your thoughts. Don't forget to share this podcast with another bold and brave friend who might appreciate our adventurous journey together. And remember to return next Wednesday for our next episode, if you dare. And as always, stay curious. There's so much more to explore.